Well, this is our first sit-down interview, any interview really,
Right.
beside election night with Glasgow Mayor-elect Henry Royse. Welcome today. How are you?
Thank you, Brennan. I'm tickled to be here and tickled to sit down with you and talk about the city of Glasgow.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your reaction to the election. We heard, a few moments on election night after you were declared our unofficial winner at that time, your excitement, but talk about it now that you've had some time to simmer on it and digest.
It's a great, great feeling. I'll tell you why. Because, first of all, there was an excellent voter turnout. There were just two of us running, and we like each other. And we didn't have any ugly things to say about each other, and we were encouraging to each other because we were all working for the same thing, which is that we wanted to be involved in making Glasgow as good of a place to raise a family as it possibly can be. And I had so much positive comment from voters who had been to vote, positive comment from people who were keeping up with the mayor's race and who are really interested in where Glasgow is going, is that it's a euphoric feeling to see the excitement and everybody feeling good about where we're going.
Thinking a little bit about politics, this will be your first time getting involved here locally with an office. What were some of your thoughts about the process of running for office? What have you found now that you've been elected to an office? What's that general feeling been like? What have you learned?
Well, the first thing I learned, I guess the most surprising thing is that how interested everybody in this community happens to be about the future of this community. People that I would see out there who maybe I grew up with or who maybe I've known and talked about other things for years, wanted to sit down and talk about nothing but the city and where the city's been and where the city's going. And of course, a lot of people have, well, what we need to do is this, what we need to do is this. I am so encouraged that people are interested in that, much more so than what I expected, Brennan.
Thinking about your first few months in office, what's at the forefront of your mind right now about some priorities and things that need to be taken care of? What direction will you be heading in?
Well, the city of Glasgow is a large machine. It's got many, many moving parts, Think about the first responders that we have to have for police and fire protection. Think about the street and sanitation department and the public works department that keeps our community, the repairs done on all the things around here. You throw in the other things like parks and recreation, plus the importance of having a good system in paying employees and somebody to keep up with the retirement system. There's a lot of moving parts, and I really want to sit down and come up with a way that we as a group of people assigned with making the city better, we all move in the same direction. We're all taking care of our part of the puzzle and get everybody kind of on the same page.
Working together is a big part of any political job, as you just said. What do you think, the city, how could the city improve working together, whether it be council members, the presentation during some of our public meetings? The city has unfortunately been a little notorious for having a bad display. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm already working to rearrange the way that we present ourselves in public by rearranging the way that we conduct our meetings, that we have some protocol, that we won't have some unpredictable type of thing that happens in the middle of the meeting. But we got 9 really smart council members who have all been successful in one way or another in things that they have and are very, very, very capable. It's just when we sit down in that room together for the same purpose, which is to make Glasgow better in whatever way the issue is, we want to conduct that in a way that will afford us the maximum positive results.
Have you thought a little bit about different, one of the things that when people are taking office, there's always speculation about who's going to be in certain positions, things like that. A lot of that is speculation, but we do know at least one of our positions on a local board, the EPB board, there will be something that needs to be filled there. For one, because Bo Jones has, my understanding, accepted the position of deputy county judge. What are your thoughts about that, and with that board particularly? Because that has, as you know, been a very controversial board the last, nearly 8 years.
Well, I am very much aware of that situation, and obviously, I, like most of the other residents of Glasgow, lived through all of that, all of the changes, all of the negativity from a PR standpoint, all of the miscommunication, and yes, I'm very much thinking about that, and I really feel like that we need to replace those that aren't going to be on the board for whatever reason. We have a person that resigned and a person that's going to have to resign because of a new position. We are going to need to fill that with people that have the same ideas about the role of the electric plant board. It's important that the electric plant board provide the electricity for our residents, provide for our industries, and give us an edge when we come to recruit industry about having the types of electrical infrastructure that's needed when the industries come looking. So I am very much actively involved in narrowing down and trying to find some people who would be good candidates for that. And they're out there. And there always have been good candidates out there. Now, with some of the I guess procedures that happened back during the turbulent times of the EPB, there's no doubt they probably scared off some pretty good members of the board because they didn't want to get down there and get into a mess. But now that it's not a mess, now that they are working hard and going in the same direction, I'm feeling good about the reaction I have gotten from conversations I've had with potential board members.
Glasgow's at a pivotal time right now. I think a lot of folks realize that. We are actively developing here in Barron County specifically at least 3 industrial locations that I can think of.
Right.
Specifically in Glasgow along 6880, that park there is continuously being developed. What are your thoughts about economic development, industry recruitment? What is your understanding of it, and how are we moving forward with that when you take office?
Well, I've been around the recruitment standpoint of industry for a long time. By my years at the Chamber of Commerce, being the president and on the board and all that, I was on the Chamber of Commerce board when IDEA was born. So I have seen it done successfully when IDEA was first set up, and I have a really good feeling about where we're going because I'm not comparing Glasgow to Glendale in terms of the kind of things that they have gotten done on paper. That's a gigantic project up there. But I do know that here in Glasgow, we have some challenges to getting industry here that have nothing to do with Glendale or Bowling Green or anything else. We've got to be able to provide a workforce that the industry will feel good about having on their side. Right now, I think we don't have the workforce as strong as what at some point we have had, and I've already had conversations with schools and conversations with other folks involved in the industry about making sure that if we don't want an industry to turn their head away from Glasgow with 2 quality school systems right here providing graduates, and with Sky CTC and WKU Glasgow meeting the needs of what an industry would need, we don't want to lose an industry because we can't use those blessings to come up with a good workforce. But that is a bit of the problem. And of course, the other types of things we have going on with people will tell you that we don't have the housing opportunities here that a community that's on the grow needs to have, and we've had some people step up, and there's some development going on, but those things take some time, and they take money, and they take investment from people who can, withstand the rigors of being involved in turning over a bunch of houses like that. But I feel like we've got people in this community that know how to do that and know how to make a difference, and that's what, from an industrial recruitment standpoint, there's so many things, everything has to click. The right number of employees at the right time, the amount of housing needed to house these new employees, to house these people that might move in here from an industry. We kind of got to make sure that truly, an overused phrase, that our ducks are in a row.
One of the things that you ran on was getting everyone on the same page,
right,
and getting back to that. How do you think that we can begin to do that?
Well, we have to work on a what I call a consensus basis. We're going to determine what we need to do to meet need A, need B, need C, or correct problem A, problem B, or problem C. And then we have to sit down and say, how can we fix this? And then we all agree this is the way to do it. Now, it might be a discussion on some sort of an ordinance that's up before the council. It might be some sort of a staff meeting with department heads, maybe of the different ones who are involved in making these things happen. But you can't throw it out as a toss-up question and say, y'all fix this. Or, yeah, we got to fix this. I don't know how we ever will. That's not consensus. Consensus is, yes, we need to figure out how to get this street paved, and we need to figure out when we can do it, how we can pay for it, and who's going to be in charge of it. On the same page, consensus, we agree to get it done by doing this and this and this and this and this.
The city has spent a considerable amount of money over the last few years developing a strategic plan, developing, most recently, branding, and things like that. How do you plan to execute some of those key points in that strategic plan and also implement more of that branding package?
Well, from the branding standpoint, I think it was money well spent. We learned a lot about ourselves here. There was a lot of research that was done, and a lot of sidebars to that research that we learned a lot about ourselves. And from the branding standpoint, I feel like that if it was agreed upon by the council members that allowed that to happen, and it has arrived here and approved, then we need to be all over it. It needs to be seen on everything that we do. I noticed when we had that basketball game back around Thanksgiving down at the Hero Center, the two teams from the city, they all had the logo that the branding company developed. I'm seeing it on some letterhead over at City Hall as well. If it's our brand, then we don't want to argue about it anymore. We have to start being consistent with that, is what I'm trying to say.
If you had to give a rough estimate in 4 years, where would you like to see the city of Glasgow?
Well, let's see. That's a tough question. In 4 years, I would like to see more jobs, obviously, more good-paying jobs, more opportunities for families, whereas a person has a good job at one of our local employers. It doesn't have to be an industry. The Industrial Revolution is not like our forefathers remembered. It's a different way to develop an industry now, to develop these jobs. I want to see us working to have work opportunities, not just one or two or whatever, but continuously coming up with ways to put people to work. I don't really think the best way to do it is to try to get some 1,500 job employer right here. I think we need to get as many industries here that employ 150, 200 people, something like that are great places to work. I would like to see in 4 years the community, I guess the word is, resume being attractive to industries like that, to go out and sell or to demonstrate that this place, for a lot of different reasons, is a really great place to invest in from an industrial standpoint, to find people who like living there and doing their job and are well trained, and the children of those people have an opportunity to go to excellent schools and have an opportunity to grow in a community that has a nice little league facility and has a nice, all the other types of things that we have here. That's what I would like to see.
That sort of goes to my next question, which is, we talk about retaining young folk a lot. We want to keep our generations here, give them a reason to stay. But obviously we have our folks that have been here, have worked in this community, who we don't want to get rid of necessarily.
That's right.
Communication, you've spent a great deal of your life being a communicator. What are your thoughts about how the city could improve communication with residents, with constituents, however you want to look at that?
Talk about the good things. Talk about what successes we have had. Be honest about the things that we still got to work on. And certainly be careful that you don't be a Debbie Downer and all you do is, well, there's some more bad news, well, we better tell them. You know, I think we have so many wonderful things that we almost take them for granted. You know, I've said this before, and I can give you some names if you want to, Brennan. There's a lot of people that have moved to Glasgow that I know they're young adults in their mid-30s who are here because of the type of town it is to raise a family in, and that goes back, generations. But I have had people say we wanted to be in Glasgow because of the type of place it is to raise a family. And if you grow up here or if you've been here a long time, you forget that fact. You don't really. It doesn't hit you that, wow, that's pretty neat that these people are here because of a reason that I'm here that I didn't even know I'm here for that reason.
Something I'm interested in too is about something that you vocalized when you were running was running for mayor isn't about politics.
Right.
What is running for mayor about?
Well, running for mayor, I'm really not a very good politician because of the fact that, I'm more of a simpler person. We need to do what's right, not what somebody over here thinks is right. We need to do what's right for the community as a whole. And so politics have no place in that. And I'm so glad that the Glasgow Council and the mayor are nonpartisan because, yes, everybody. I got a lot of people on the email asking me when I was running, what party do you belong to? And I just wrote them back and said, well, I'm a Democrat, but that has nothing to do with the mayor's race because I'm not tied or committed to anybody, any party, or any person that's out there interested in the city. And from a standpoint of being mayor, that it's not about politics. There is no place for some coalition to come in here and say, okay, we're going to get behind this guy as the mayor because we want this and this and this and this and this. No, we want everybody that happens to be a resident of here to be that coalition. And we work together as a council and as the city body to come up with what the consensus is that we need to move forward toward.
Very good. So now that we've sort of covered everything about your reaction moving forward, anything else that you feel like you've learned through this process already, and how are you going to employ what you've learned moving into the office of Mayor of Glasgow?
One of the things is that Glasgow has been blessed with having good leadership, good mayors, good council members. A lot of the good things that have happened in this city go back to people who unselfishly gave of their time to be, and we can drop some heavy names here, but I wouldn't even get close to all of them. But a lot of people unselfishly gave of their time to make sure that this city was a good place to call home. I think that what I have learned is that that's not the easiest job. It's not automatic. I haven't found the one switch that I can walk in and say, okay, automatically things are going to get better. Because of the way this city has changed, because of the way that you throw in COVID, you throw in losing some industries, you throw in other people in the neighborhood who are having some success, and maybe it looks like that we're not having the success. You throw all those things in there, it's not going to be an easy fix because the problems that we might identify here are certainly fixable, but not overnight. And so I would hope that the biggest thing that when you get ready to get started, it's like, boy, I can't wait to get started so I can do blam, 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 and hammer all this stuff out. It's going to take a little longer. It's going to take communication. It's going to take trying to understand some of the things that people would like to see different. We've got to spend time figuring out what it is that really is needed in each one of these areas. But with good people and having good people working at City Hall and council members and others, and I encourage the feedback from the people in the city because we need to hear from everybody.
I know one of the big questions that a lot of folks ask you continuously in your, I suppose, personal life, but your professional life too, is your role in your business in radio. What would you tell folks moving forward about that process? How how present will you be, or
mhm.
what's the direction of that?
Well, you know, I presumed this, but I also have spent some time making sure that I made the right decision. I'm not going to be able to do the morning show anymore because the job of being mayor is what I signed up for, and I can't see how I'm going to do it and do the things that we need to address on any kind of a part-time basis. I've just got to spend my days working with that. Now, I'll probably be involved in the archives because we can kind of do that, you know, in advance. And you know, this is this is my life right here. This is the one of the reasons why I wanted to run for mayor was out of the respect I have for the city and giving me a place to raise my family and have a successful business. Now, you know, the Mother Nature says, yeah, and you shouldn't try to do that till you're 100. So I'm trying to step in a position to where I can, while I still have energy to give back and do so out of the respect that I have for this place that we call home.
Very good. Anything I failed to ask today that you want to tell folks, mention to folks as you're coming into this new role?
Well, I think that just, you know, I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm as green as a Christmas tree. I have no political background. My background here has been in reporting the good things that this community has done and how many wonderful things have we had to promote. Now, if what you're looking for is to promote the good things, sometimes you see some of the bad things. You don't necessarily make that a big story, but you learn from it and you can watch for things. And so I think that there's nothing wrong with reporting the good news, and there's nothing wrong with using what I've learned to report good things to help us turn some things around.
Very good. Well, again, we've been sitting down today with Mayor-elect of Glasgow, Mr. Henry Royse. Thank you, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Brennan. I enjoy being here.